Um, 2022 actually has been a great year for the OneMic show, and we covered everything from the Kenyan elections to the US midterms. We also hosted a plethora of guests, including career experts, healthcare professionals, and even award-winning artists like Ali Kiba. Now, tonight we'll be continuing with our annual recap that started 2 weeks ago. We want to know what your favorite topics were, who were the most impactful guests that we hosted, and what topics were just boring or just fell flat like a pancake. We also want to hear from you again tonight, and you can just start typing right now in the comment section so that we get to know, and we're going to read your comments tonight because Ruth is here, so your comments will be read. Don't worry about that. We also want you to tell us where our blind spots were, what important topics we missed, and guests that you would have liked to see that we failed to host. So we want you, again, to get busy on your keyboards right now. And just a quick reminder, this is the final episode of 2022. But before that, I just want us to have to go to the panel and to the audience too to tell us what they thought of Samido's interview yesterday. We had an unscheduled interview. No, not necessarily unscheduled, but it was on a day that we normally don't have the OneMic show. It was on a Thursday. And I don't know whether, Uno, maybe you might just want to give a few comments of what you thought about Samido yesterday and the interview.
Well. Let me just say first and foremost, karibuni sana, mafans, wasikilizaji. We had a hustler by the name of Naomi Wangari.
Mm-hmm. Got 2 tickets to Dallas.
2. She forced the issue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She hustled it while others was watching, but
yeah,
Dallas, we sorted. Thank you to Patrick, by the way, for hooking it up. I believe we were able to get into an insight of the man behind the music.
Mm-hmm.
I'd listened to some of his interviews, but most of them were in Cuke. I can only recall maybe 2, and I stand to be corrected. I know the one he did with Churchill, but not much was said, and one with Betty Chalo. That's
Mm-hmm.
like 22 minutes.
Yes.
There wasn't much.
Yeah.
But there's some that he did with another guy called Jeff that sort of broke down his past. The man behind the music.
Behind the music.
You know, his journey into music, his foray. But prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, him being an orphan. I don't think many people knew that.
Yes.
You know, that he was an orphan. What he did not actually say was how he ended up going to Korea. He said it was gazetted, but he had to go to the DC and told him he was looking for anything. He just walked into the office,
Yeah.
and then he was asked, "Can you run?" He said, "Yes, I can run."
Mm-hmm.
And that is how he ended up, you know, sort of getting into being
a cop.
Being a cop.
Okay.
But all in all, somebody texted me this morning and said he looked like he was very nervous because he was like, you know, moving his leg or whatever. But it sort of he settled in.
Hey, body language readers.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
walikuwa maidho. But
Funny, we had the camera trained on his legs.
my friend, you sometimes, you know, like you know the camera angles. It's not only one, okay?
That's
There's one
right.
over there. There's one there. There's one over here.
Yeah.
So please,
Eh?
That
My
was
friend.
that show.
So are you saying that my language is bodily unacceptable?
No, that just shows he doesn't.
he
you know,
never pays attention.
Not even paying attention. He doesn't go back to listen to the shows as required of every panelist. So it's just revealing that he doesn't do that. But anyway, let's get
So
back
Do
to
not
Samido.
listen to the hype
So-
of these two
Yeah.
So-
young owls. Leonie
so the
closing
bat-
day. I
at-
feel nothing about them.
As the show proceeded,
Yeah.
he sort of relaxed, akafunguka kidogo, akaanza
Yes.
kucheka. He sort of felt mzuri. So again, like we had said, you know, the essence was to get to know the guy behind the music.
Yeah, and I think, you know, piggybacking on what you said, I think he was a bit nervous, you know, like at the beginning because
He was.
He also
He didn't know what to expect.
He did not know what to expect.
True.
And then, you know, like we don't realize this. We're here every week. Studios can be very intimidating. Kilimanjaro studios, you know, like you know, like sometimes it's okay to toot our own horn kidogo.
No.
You know, like people get shocked when they walk in here, even before we ask the first question.
Yes.
You know, because I think sometimes mtu anasikia one mic, maybe the expectation, especially if maybe they've not watched a previous episode, expecting it's one guy maybe sitting in a basement with one microphone, both of you are sharing it.
Yes.
Where we were, like some 10 years ago. So I think that maybe mentally is the expectation. So I think there's a slight intimidation factor when you come in. And then I think the other thing is that there's a lot of interviewers in Kenya who try to get highlights out of some of these. They try to get,
sound bites. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think he was also, kind of scoping us out to find out, are these sound are these soundbite guys? Are they serious people? And I think, after he got comfortable, I think that's when he just started, being comfortable with talking about himself and saying, what he needs to do.
Actually, even Stephen Batty says, Samido was uneasy and his voice was low. Now, that one on the low part, maybe that was it.
I think that's his natural voice. I don't
know.
No, okay, wait, let me put it this way. I think it's his natural speaking voice. And because when he's singing, it's very different from, and a lot of artists are like that. The voice they used to sing and the voice they used to talk, two totally different animals. So you cannot. Prince is a perfect example of somebody like that. That when the guy speaks versus when he was singing, they're two totally.
That is interesting. Yeah,
can't. You are like, this is not even the same person. So for him, he's normally a quiet, reserved, backseat kind of guy, and then we are putting the spotlight on him, and it's like he needs to speak. You know what I'm saying? He normally speaks through his music. Yeah. And that's why I made the comment. I was like, okay, maybe we should get him to speak musically or sing through the interview. Then it would have made sense for him, quote unquote. It's not something that he does naturally. And also with a lot of artists, the more they get interviewed, the better they become at this, putting your persona out there or letting people know who you really are when you're in front of a microphone, but not in front of an audience.
Because those are two different beasts.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a mic, yes, but it's a mic that you're talking into. You're not singing into it. You know what I'm saying? Because the minute we told him, start singing.
Yeah. Things just went naturally. Yeah.
Si alifunga show.
Yeah.